Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Ordinal Revolution Presents Kimi and Friends. Guys, we have an amazing show for you guys today. It's going to be amazing like every Saturday morning. We thank you guys for joining us. It should be really, really fun. Can't wait. So, every Saturday morning, we do a spaces. It focuses on builders. It focuses on the week. It focuses on the future. And I think it's the best space on the planet. But before we get started, I'm just gonna run you guys through some token stuff, some Magic Eden stuff, just to kind of wait for everyone to get in here. A little good show starter to kind of set the mood here. We got Ordi over $1.1 billion. Ordi is the king and is leading. In that number two spot is Sat sitting at $483 million market cap, up 15% since yesterday. Track, everyone loves Track. $87 million market cap. We got Niles at $11.7 million market cap, up 20% on the 24 hours. Crazy. Pizza sitting at $9 million market cap. VMPX sitting at $8.6 million market cap. It looked like it finally woke up this week. BTCS, Chinese Community DAO, sitting at 7.7 million. Pepe token looking like it's in the top 10, 6.3 million. OXBT just quiet, sitting at $6 million market cap. And we got Meme sitting at $6 million, up 15%. Jumping over to the newer tokens, we got Mumbai actually killing it over the last 7 days. 110 million, down 15%. But this thing's been moving, sitting at number one spot. Everyone's favorite community coin, Rats, sitting at $70 million, up 17% from yesterday. Rats are killing it. Turt down for what? Sitting at $30 million market cap, up 50% since yesterday. And we got Rate. It's the new guy on and I've never seen it. It says new here, sitting at $30 million. Wow, this when it came on the scene quick. We got Pin sitting at $20 million market cap. That's the Pi Network token. Then .com sitting at the sixth spot on the new token, sitting at 17 million. Row Up sitting at 13.9 million, up 16% from yesterday. Ghosty still in the top 10 for the newer tokens, sitting at $12 million, down 5% from yesterday. Ghosty was on a tear last week. BMP sitting at 8.2 million, down 6% since yesterday. And we have CSAS, $7.7 million, down 4% from yesterday. We're going to jump over to my favorite part of Ordinals, the digital artifacts on Magic Eden. Going to give it a quick refresh to get you guys the freshest prices. We got the Bitcoin frogs sitting just below 0.14 at 0.1399. The sub's been really killing it this week. I'm on the 7-day here. Sub 100Ks in that second spot, man. People are buying these up. It's been absolutely crazy. Sub 10K, sub 1K, and sub 100K have been in the top 12 for the last 2 weeks, but this last week they've been just dominating the top 12. On the 7-day, just the sub 100Ks in that two spot. So you can still get a sub 100K for 0.002. That's pretty crazy that it just drove up this high, but at the same time, it potentially could be something bigger in the future. We got Ordi Rock sitting at 0.009. These guys have been floating around here. We got the bitmap floor sitting at 0.0021. Bitmaps have been really just kind of holding that 0.002. They are not letting up. I kind of want to jump in. If you wanted a 1-digit bitmap, you'll be paying around 6 Bitcoin. If you wanted a 2-digit bitmap, you'll be paying around 0.7 Bitcoin. If you wanted a 3-digit bitmap, you'll be paying around 0.077. If you wanted a 4-digit bitmap, you'd be paying around 0.15. And the 5 digits are just about 20% over the floor at 0.00275. Jumping back to Magic Eden. Femojis came on the scene. This is the 2.0. These actually look really cool. Just came out, just revealed, I want to say yesterday. Some really, really amazing artwork with them, and how they did the reveal was really awesome and different. BEVM white paper. This has been in the top 12 all week. I still have to look into this. Looks pretty. I mean, it's everyone looks exactly the same. Node Wizards really play off the Node Monkeys, which is really the talk of the town lately. The Node Monkeys. So the Node Wizards are kind of just hanging out there. Ordinal Maxibiz really taking a back seat to everything else, sitting at 0.345. This is first time I've ever seen a 7-day that the Ordinal Maxibiz, the volume is just in the 10th spot. Wild. Cursed Ordinal sitting in that 11th spot, sitting at 0.0003. And we got the Goosenals, honk, honk. Shout out to base community, sitting at 0.0286. This is up for the week, I want to say. This is the highest I've seen it during the week. But yeah, guys, so that is your market update, and we're gonna have an amazing show for you guys today. Can't wait to get started. So without further ado, let me bring in my partner, as always, Mr. Iago B. What's up, buddy?
Good morning, everybody. Thanks for the intro, Shizzy. Shizzy, could you send the request the co-host for Kimi as well? I think he's using his PC this morning or evening, wherever he is, or I know where he's at, so I think it is good evening for him. Yeah, so I mean, we have a great lineup today. We got Quarry. If you guys don't know him, then you haven't been in the space for too long. He is the founder of Magistat. He's going to be on stage kind of talking about what happened last week and how the community kind of banded together to help one another community member figure some stuff out. We'll also have Satoshi X Club on stage today. Adam McBride, welcome to the stage, sir, representing Emblem Vault. He's going to talk about multi-chain NFT solutions. We also have Ordi Chef that's going to be up on stage. I think we have the Hawk possibly going to be on stage later. Kind of he was a part of that situation. And then also your boy, Benny, that joins us every Saturday pretty much. We appreciate you jumping up this week as well. So yeah, a lot of stuff to talk about, a lot of stuff to get educated on this week, right? So the first thing we always ask for you guys to do is to help us get as many people in here as possible. Hit that bottom right bubble icon and share the space, because there's going to be, I have a good feeling this is going to be a very, very educated space this morning, right? There's going to be a lot of education kind of passed around here. But first, as I love to always do, I'd like to get a feel on kind of what my co-hosts feel about the current market with BRC20s and the Ordinals market. So we'll start with Kimi, as we always do. Kimi, kind of noticed that the BTC is not really pulling back much. It's hanging around that 44K, but it seems like BRC20s and the Ordinal artifacts have been bleeding out a little bit. What's your thoughts on that? What do you think the next move is for the
Hello?
space?
Hello?
Yeah.
I have a new setup, so I was wondering, do you hear me? Okay. Yeah, I don't know what to say. I'm disturbed with Node Monkeys, and I wrote a post today, and I was chilling and bashing them. whole day, and yesterday we were talking with them, and I don't know. I'm so sad to hear. We were talking in a group with 150 people, and they told we want to hear your feedbacks, and everyone, really everyone, said don't do it, except one guy who was in the end told, "Oh, what is Dutch auction?" so everyone was against that, and they said, "No, we will go stick with this." So I will definitely block them, and I don't know, maybe even report for misleading misinformation.
Real quick, Kimmy, can I
Yeah.
talk on that real?
Yes, of
So
course.
we actually have the no monkeys in here listening, which is pretty crazy. But so
Let them come on stage.
hold on. So
Invite them.
they were in my DMs today, and we were talking, and uh, they're in a tough spot, and I think that I had some thoughts and views on it yesterday, and they kind of changed my thought process on this, and I think we should kind of give them a little bit of room to kind of think on it. And like originally, my stance was the same as yours, Kimmy, the Dutch auction stuff. But like they're in a really tough spot, and I think we should all kind of take a step back instead of bashing them and kind of figure out what would we do in their situation. They're trying to give away this project, right? And they just don't really know how. They want to do it the fairest way that doesn't get bought up by bots, right? So they actually asked me what I would do. And then I was coming up with ideas, and they were giving me the reasons why I've already thought about these ideas. And it was really hard. Once you put yourself in their shoes, it's really hard. And, I was really against this Dutch auction, but I mean, it's kind of like their only option. Like, I just want to say that real quick.
Yeah, of course. You were their supporter, number one supporter of Node Monkeys. But I think this is the worst case scenario what they can do, because it will suck out all the liquidity. It will dump. Everybody who wants to participate will dump to have enough money
I'm
to
just saying,
start.
it's just a tough
auction.
situation.
The reality is there's a very easy solution. They could simply use a CryptoPunks model where they keep 1,000 or whatever 10% of the supply, and then they can sell them as they need to. It's not a difficult situation. Actually, they could follow a well-worn model of rewarding your early supporters and keeping a big bag for yourself to cash in down the road. And the longer they hold it, and the more they actually support the community and the community grows, the more valuable those ones that they hold are going to be. So it's really not that difficult, and it just looks like a cash grab at this point.
Exactly, and for voting, they can connect Discord, one Twitter, and wallet who interacted with Ordinals at least, I don't know, for 3 months ago. You can, so there is the ways, and I don't know.
I'm sorry, Agabi, I don't want to steal the show here, but Adam, could you explain that a little bit more to me? How that works? I'm sorry.
Sure. So if you think about the way the original CryptoPunks was distributed, basically they gave them away for free. You just went and claimed them, and but they kept out of the 10K they kept 1,000, and they never sold the 1,000, but they kept them. And so especially like you see for artists and stuff, where there's this zero royalty structure, which we're kind of moving to. There's no way for artists or project devs to continually earn income. Just holding back some of the supply is a real simple way where if it blows up, you're just a huge winner because you can sell supply into that pump. So it's a pretty simple mechanism, and it would allow them to distribute them freely and while keeping a bag for themselves. So if it price runs up, they can still make a crap ton of money.
Gotcha. Yeah, but like, how do you avoid the bot situation with that?
I told you have to have one Twitter old enough, one Discord account, and wallet which is interacting with Ordinals actively for the, I don't know, let's say the last 3 months. That can be done with, I don't know, there is some different platforms for whitelisting, and you can use that for
Yeah, if you look what Ordinal's, On-Chain Monkey did, basically they took the payment up front and then passed you the Ordinal later. So it was a little bit of a trust mechanism, which people might not be willing to do right now. But I mean, basically, you just do a trust mechanism, and they could whitelist it out, and they don't even need that. They just basically, send them to people. The people could just send in an amount of. There's just ways to do it. It doesn't have to be that complicated to do it and do it to avoid the bot situation.
It sounds like you just might need to do a little bit extra work, but it can be done. Is basically what I'm hearing, right? Is it more like just verification, kind of after the payment's done, you can verify that it's not a bot?
Yo, so I'm also gonna take this opportunity and see that I see that Node Monk is in the audience. So I've been talking to Node Monks before, and throughout my conversations, I didn't really feel they're ill-intended, and I felt like they were listening and having a constructive conversation. So I think that what Adam proposed is quite a good solution. Like, I like, to be fair, that mechanism, because it also makes the project team a big holder, which is good for the project, because if, let's say, if they distribute for free like 8,000, 9,000 of them, it's basically the remaining will stick with them, and they got all the incentives to make it a good project because they're basically the biggest holder. So I would be down for doing that sort of mechanism. And I would also add to what Adam said, that I really hate whitelist based on like fucking grinding in Discord and shit like that, where this horde of people just joins the Discord and fucking yells, send nodes or whatever. Personally, that's not for me. I would say that all the information for a good whitelist with good people that were early in ordinals is available on chain. So I would do that if I were them. Like, look on chain, think of people that are deserving of the whitelist, and like avoid giving the spots to like whatever grinder comes into Discord. So that's just my 2 cents.
Yeah, I feel like first of all, can you hear me, Shizzy?
Yeah, I hear you fine.
Okay, I was just making sure because I'm on my PC too now. Can't find my damn Apple headphones here. But yeah, so I think what's happening is that people are definitely having like an emotional reaction, which is understandable from all the information that came out from Node Monkeys throughout this whole time, right? And for being the partner of someone from Philly like Shizzy, the fact that he was able to kind of kind of step back and extend some grace to the Node Monkeys team tells me 100%. I know Shizzy, and I know like he really like has an open mind, but like him talking to them really kind of made him take a step back, because last night me and him were in conversations and he was pretty hot, which I understood. Made sense. So I don't know. I think we got to kind of see how this process plays out. I agree with Query and Shizzy that like after they had conversations with them, I don't think that there's this ill intent that's out there to just suck liquidity out of the whole space. But yes, do I think that the community has a reason to be frustrated? Absolutely. But we just got to see what that next step is.
Real quick, no monkeys are actually in my DMs. They have a message for Adam. To Adam, we plan to do exactly the CryptoPunk model, but that concerned in a different world. That occurred in a different world. There was zero interest, no bots, no people with hundreds of fake accounts. It is nonsense to say that it is easy to do it that way.
Bro, never said it. Never, the word easy never came out of my mouth. It's possible to do it that way. Look, OCM did it with 300. Yeah, I don't know why you can't do it with 9,000. Like come on. Of course you can. Of course you can. Right? I mean, it's not easy, of course. But how do they want to be perceived? Do they want to be perceived as look, I understand, look, and everyone in this space, you're given an opportunity to make $5 million today. That's a tough choice, right? And a lot of us would probably do what they're doing. So I'm not saying this is an easy thing to do. But when you promise something and you go back on it, obviously the community is completely turned on them. It's painful, and people don't like that. This would be a way to simply basically get out of that situation while still maintain that $5 million might look actually cheap. Like you might have $10 million or $20 million sitting in your wallet, right? So it gives them an out with huge upside if they kind of turn it around. I'm not saying it's not difficult, obviously, from a technical perspective, but it certainly can be done from a technical perspective.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think it's just the fact that you're going to have to put in more work to make it happen. And then you're betting on yourself. Adam, that's what it sounds like. It's like if you do it this way, you're betting on yourself. You have your allocation for your team. And there's that possibility it's going to do what people probably thought it was going to do when the hype was really, the hype is still there, but like whenever the community was really, really anticipating it. So I'd like to get Nicola's perspective on it. I know he's been pretty vocal lately on it. Nicola, after hearing this quick kind of back and forth between the panel up here, has your perspective changed a little bit, or are you still kind of, your mind is still where it was, let's say, like, I don't know, 10 hours ago?
Good morning, guys. To put it in short, no, nothing has changed because everything you guys are talking about, I'm already in talk with them for a few days. So I have been through that cycle. To be honest, I think they're not listening to anyone. They're just hearing. And there's a huge difference between the two because it's obvious. There's no way that they don't know what they're doing. And in no reality, in no world, Dosh auction is the solution. So as Kimi said, we had a group chat for like hours yesterday that people were giving the same ideas, feedbacks, and everything you guys are saying. And after hours of discussion, after Casey and the Ordinal Protocol team, they announced that we don't even want the money, they still announced that they're going to go with the Dutch option. So at this point, to be honest, I think they have ill intent. This is something based on their actions. This is something I'm getting, the feedback I'm getting. And if they keep going like this, because the minimum is, okay, we will stop the mint or we will take our time to reconsider what we are doing. But when you just push the same thing that you were doing after getting the feedback that no one is happy with it, that just shows the reality of what is happening. So yeah, I think at this point they have the ill intent because there's no way they don't know what they're doing. They can justify it, but at the end it's just justification because the solutions are there. And Dutch auction is not the solution. And no one has a problem with them making money. They deserve it. They were early, they minted something unique. But when you go first with a new, everything they have done is fake news. Like they push the narrative of getting rejected by VC. Who, where? No one knows. They just pumped it. Then they went with the pre-mint. It changed. They went with the charity, and now it's just random. They don't even do the charity. So their own pockets is the charity at this time. So yeah, the approach they have had is awful. If they would say at first, okay, we're gonna charge you 200, 300, everyone would be happy. No one would have a problem with this. And I don't understand how whitelist is worse than Dosh auction. I really don't understand. You want to have it fair, you already know. People who are in ordinals are the ones who are gonna hold and give value to your collection. List top 50, top 10, whatever projects in ordinals, everything is on chain. Check the top wallets of our holders, people who have been in the space for 3 to 6 months, and whitelist them like that. You don't like this approach? Okay, make it a paid mint. You don't want to get people front run and burn. make it a payment, and then airdrop the NFTs to people with the money that you get from the mint. So it doesn't make any sense. The approach they're having doesn't make any sense. It's maximum liquidity extraction. And the approach they're having, they know that everyone is pissed, so they're just going back and forth in DMs with people to make them calm. So, but they keep doing what they're doing, and then this is what is happening in reality. So yeah, my stance is still the same, and it's even worse than yesterday.
Gotcha. Well, I appreciate you, breaking that down and explaining where you are still in, with your mindset. Yeah, it's a tough topic right now. I have faith in the ordinal community, so I feel like hopefully there's going to be some sort of solution, because they definitely can feel the heat and the pressure for them from the kickback from the community here. But let's kind of move on a little bit. We can get back into this later if we need to. Shizzy, I wanted to ask you two before we jump into, because I'm going to go to Query to kind of start off that conversation about the security and aspect of things and stuff. But Shizzy, how are you feeling about that kind of same question I had with Kimi initially about like BTC hovering around that same price? It's not dumping, but it's also, it seems like it wants to actually continually move up a bit, but it's bouncing back between 43 and 44. But the BRC20 and ordinal artifact market seems to be bleeding a little bit. That's what I'm seeing, at least, doing my list every day. What are you seeing in terms of both of those markets and where they're what they're waiting on, and where they're heading?
Yeah, man, I think it's kind of like, I feel like it's really 2020. I feel like we're in 2020, and I feel like we're going to see an absolute explosion towards the end of this month. Saying where we're headed is tough, but I'm expecting Valhalla, baby. But are you seeing hands up? Benny had his hand up for a while. He did want to speak on that real quick.
Yeah, sorry, you skipped that topic with Node Monkeys, so I put your hand back.
Okay,
it's fine.
Sorry, Benny, I didn't see that. I don't know if it's different on my PC, but if you want to hit on that topic, go ahead. We can still.
No, it's fine. You moved on already. It's fine. It's okay.
Okay.
I was just trying to understand what was going on there, because it came like out of a developing story, and I've like no clue what this is about, basically. So.
Gotcha. Yeah. It was just, to make it simple and short, it was just basically their approach of how they were going to launch the project. It was going to be free mint, then changed to paid, I believe, or donations, and then now it's going to be Dutch auction. So, but we can definitely revisit that. So, Corey, I want to start with you. First, let's talk about rare sats. Let's start off there, and then we can move into your situation that you helped facilitate with the community member. But with rare sats, everybody knows that you're the man to go to, right? You founded Magisat. And my question to kind of kick things off is really, do you it seemed like rare sats was a little bit kind of on the back burner a little bit whenever like BRC20s and these ordinal artifacts started getting a lot of liquidity and attention. But then in the tail end of that first push up, rare stats started to get some liquidity flowing into that. Do you see that the rare stat sector being one of the next ones to kind of really go to blow up here dramatically? What's your view on that?
Yeah, so that's a good point. When collections pumped, rare sats pumped just a little bit, like they did 20-30%, and then they sticked around that level. So the way I see this is rare sats is a much safer asset than whatever ordinals collection you have in mind. Because NFTs and ordinals are in general quite illiquid. Even Ether NFTs, when the liquidity flows out and the undercutting starts, it's pretty much impossible, almost impossible to sell. So they're quite liquid assets, in my opinion, ordinals and NFTs as well. But rare sets are a little bit different, and they, in the long run, they are much more liquid assets, especially uncommons. Black sets are much more liquid than any NFT collection because there are like tens of thousands of uncommons in the market already in the hands of hunters. And I look at this asset as a much longer term investment than whatever ordinal I buy. With ordinals, to be fair, I'm very picky about what I keep long term. So in terms of collections, I have like two OMBs which I will keep in the long run. I have a couple of under 100k ordinals that I'll keep in the long run, and there are just a few collections that I would stick with for the long run. I guess Seize Control would be one because it has to do with rare sets, and it's the first collection on rare sets. Of course, my own collections are worth keeping for the long run because it's gonna be the first big story on inscribed on chain forever with the Apostles of Greed. But yeah, in general, even these collections, which are quite sound and have done very good in the market and are quite stable, uh, aren't something that's liquid enough, aren't necessarily something that would be 100% up in the long run. Maybe except like under 100k and under 10k collections. Those I believe that are a good long-term investment because there's not going to be another under 100k inscribed again. So those should be good for the long run. But except that, all this shit that's trading in market right now on the hype, like this 10k collections with, I don't know, fucking copies of copies and all the fucking animals in the zoo that are trading today, those are good flips. Like if you catch some and manage to flip some, then good for me, good for you. And definitely, like, go with the hype, go with the flow, do some trading, why not? But are not long-term buys. Whereas rare sats will be used as canvases on the long run. And what's interesting about them and why I believe this is a very good long-term play is they're deflationary. Like once you inscribe an uncommon, is no longer a virgin uncommon and won't be a virgin uncommon ever again. So in time, like, I don't know, in 1-2 years, when 50,000 uncommons will be inscribed, or I don't know what's the number, but I expect a good part of the supply will be inscribed because I will inscribe the first 10,000 that make up a collection in probably January, February. But as time goes on, they will get inscribed. So the supply is deflationary and they will always serve as a canvas. Collections will come and go, but having an uncommon set as a canvas or a block 9 as a canvas will pretty much stick around. So as time goes by, those supplies dwindle. And it's that's why it's an asset that I really believe in for the long run. So yeah, that's my take on rare sets regarding the, let's say, trading investment part.
Can I ask you, what do you think about new those rare sets? We have, how do you call it, alpha sets, first set in Bitcoin, and we see something similar in bitmaps also. New metas, new block tributes pop up every now and then. What do you think about that?
That's a good question. So I think that there are let's say categories of rarity. And it starts from the core with Road Armor Rarity, which is like the main thing, and that it's not like anyone argues that like Road Armor isn't legit or uncommons aren't legit. So those are, in my opinion, in the center of it all. Then I think there's the next category of early exotic sats, like pizza sats, vintage sats, block 9s, block 78, Nakamoto sats, palindromes. Those are basically the second tier of rarity, and those were added super early on. Then there are the third tier rarities, which are a bit more riskier, like alpha sats and stuff like that. But I guess that like in 1-2 years, uh, those sats that are in the third tier of rarity will pretty much uh, get like some history, some legitimacy in the market as well, because probably other tiers will be added on top, and at that time those will be the new tier. And from there on, it can pretty much be like shit coins on Ether. I mean, why not? They don't have to all be like legit. You got this like two tiers that are legit, Road Armor and the first exotic sats, and then other categories can be added. We can treat them like with other shit coins. We can have fun and do some casino on rare sats, because everyone in this market is quite degenerate. So I know people want that and love that. So why not?
Yeah, I mean that's a great point. I heard about Casey's kind of plans of launching runes, right? And being able to integrate some of these rare and exotic sets into the tokenization part of it, which would be really fun and amazing. We all go to the casino and trade these, and it's a little bit more narrative and weight, in my opinion, than just your typical shitcoin, right? Because you have something backing the shitcoin itself. But I love your breakdown in terms of how these, especially the main base ones, like the uncommons, the rare, the epics, all that stuff. They are used as like canvases, right? So they're utilized. They have the most utility, I think, in many of these layer one Bitcoin assets, because they're used across multiple different projects, right? So there's always going to be a use case for them at this point, since the narrative has been born. So I agree. I think that rare stats are going to be a great future investment. Obviously, not financial advice. None of it is in this space, but that's something that I'm kind of trying to hoard myself and accumulate. Right. One thing that came to my attention, because I saw Casey's post about, hey, look, we like black stats. We want to do something with those. But he's almost kind of wanted to I guess like remove the uncommon part of the name from that. Do you think it makes sense for there to be, and I know this is everybody's gonna say, oh, that's centralized, but at the end of the day, like anybody can start like adding new metas to rare stats in terms of, oh, well, this is like one that I see a pattern with this one. It's new. It should be added to the list and stuff like that. But do you feel like there should be like one like board of people that creates like the actual name of these rare stats? Obviously, that's a Web 2 type of approach, but it seems to have worked in the collectibles industry, like for example, sports cards, Pokemon cards, grading companies. What are your thoughts on that, Corey?
So there's already like, I wouldn't call it a board, but in Magisat Discord, we have this channel which is called Rarity Research. And that's where pretty much all the people that are passionate about rare sats join and like share opinions, consult with each other on different aspects of the market. That channel is, for example, where alpha sats and omega sats got invented, basically. That channel is where perfect palinceptions, uniform palinceptions, and so on got defined and invented. And I am happy to host that. I'm happy to encourage people to work to discover different categories. And at this point, we're like quite picky about what we add. So we won't just add like, I don't know, you have a Bitcoin in your wallet and then you define a category as being all the sats being part of that Bitcoin. That's bullshit. That's like you hold all the supply or you hoarded the supply a priori. So we're very careful about that. Like we don't allow people, or we call people on their bullshit when they're trying to define categories that they collected before, or categories for which it's possible for any party to have collected them before defining them. So we're trying to avoid that, because these are not like shit coins. You don't mint 100% of the supply. So if the category makes sense and it has sort of like, I don't know, aesthetics and numbers, like part of the Fibonacci sequence, prime numbers, stuff like that, then yeah, we'll very carefully analyze that, and why not? We'll add it to Magisat if it makes sense. But yeah, we avoid creating these categories which run a risk of centralization. So that's pretty much how it happens right now. And regarding black sats, it's people say like Black invented them and stuff like that, which is cool. And I don't think anybody minds that the dude came up with a definition, because those are a category of sats that he couldn't have hoarded like a significant supply a priori, because they're well spread in the market. There are like 8,000 of them. 800,000 of them. They're the same supply as uncommons. And they make sense from the perspective that they're sort of the opposite of Road Armor Rarity. So that's why Casey even considered adding them on Ord. But then that pull request, I'm not sure if you guys went through it. Leonidas came and said, like, look, we shouldn't add stuff to like the core rarity at this point. Like that's done. Let's leave it like that. Let's hold whatever value they've accrued by being the first rarity ranking in ordinals, and the market anyway finds its way to value sats, to add them on marketplaces, add them on Ord.io and stuff like that. So I agree with him in the sense, like, Road Armor Rarity shouldn't be extended. It's already done. But that doesn't mean that black sats, for example, won't have a very good long-term value and won't be accepted by Ord.io in the future and other marketplaces for trading rare sats.
That makes sense. I can see them why they would want to stick with that core Road Armor Rarity standard there. But I agree with you. I think that's inevitable that, maybe more of the people that have influence in the rare sat game, like you and other entities and stuff, can facilitate and go through the process that you guys go through to determine, what else could have value there in terms of rare sats or exotic sats there. So that's awesome. And I can't see any hands, so if there are hands up, please forgive me. Shizzy and Kimmy are on it because I'm on my PC, so maybe that's an issue there. But if you are wanting to ask a query, any questions about rare sats or anything, just raise your hand and they'll call on you. If my PC starts working to where I can see them, I'll call on you definitely. But okay, so
I have
go ahead.
one more question. So you mentioned virgin rare sets. So what is traded on your market is not anything is inscribed on that, or how does it go? I never learned more about.
You can list inscribed rare sats as well, but they will show as inscribed. So they will have like a banner that says inscribed, and in general, it kind of beats the purpose because like most customers are there for the obviously reason of getting virgin rare sats for either using them as a canvas or simply hoarding them and speculating on them. So yeah, you can list inscriptions, you can list already inscribed rare sats, but it doesn't make much sense to do that. But you can do that nevertheless.
Thanks.
Awesome. Query. Okay, before we get into this next big subject, I feel like it's pretty big and important. I want to ask you, what's the next thing for MagiStats? I know that you've been cooking up a lot of stuff. If you could talk about what you guys have going on next, if you need to keep it close to your chest, I understand that as well. But yeah, so if you could talk about that, then go ahead.
Yeah, definitely. So Um, first of all, we have some improvements to do at the current features because we want Magisat to have basically everything that you need about rare sats, and that includes like all the categories of rare sats. We want much better identification in your profile, like um, filtering, sorting them, seeing exactly what you got in your wallet, what sats, in a much better display, let's say. Then we already have tools for manipulating rare sats, like creating a transaction that isolates them from a bigger UTXO. And we have that. It's like one click, one transaction to isolate everything in your UTXOs so you can get them ready for listing. We have transfer for rare sets. We also have safe spend, where you want to extract the Bitcoin without damaging or spending rare sets on fees. And we also want this profile to look much better. We want to add a couple of more categories, but that's pretty much going to be happening quite soon and fast. So I'd say that by the beginning of the next year, maybe mid-January at most, we'll already have like everything that you would need regarding rare sats, including probably inscribing them directly on Magisat. And yeah, after we're done with that, we're creating the Ordinals market. So we'll put up an Ordinals market as well, and also put up a launchpad. And what this launchpad does is basically similar to what Ordzar is doing now, but it will be for collections that are like high end and from serious creators that want to create like big collections. They have the art, they have uh, the name in the space, the reputation, and they want to create, let's say, a collection on 5,000 uncommons or 5,000 black sets. Like, if you want to create a collection on 5,000 uncommons, now you need right off the bat like $1 million for getting the uncommon sets, which is quite prohibitive even if you're like a good artist, even if you've put a collection out before, it's quite prohibitive. So we want to link this launchpad with the rare sets market. So basically what would happen is you arrange everything, you come with the art, you establish the whitelist, you establish a small premium or whatever for the creation of the collection, and then people will pay the inscribing cost. Will automatically, when they mint, they will buy the floor listing of uncommon or black set or whatever's done, and then they will inscribe the ordinal and pay the small premium to the creator. So that would enable people doing like 5,000, 10,000 collections on rare sets that would otherwise cost like $1-2 million and are prohibitive for good creators that have amazing art. And it's a first, like it's the first time in Ordinal's history when that will be unlocked, and it will only happen if the launchpad can link itself to an Ordinal's market. To a rare sets market. And with that, obviously, we'll also put up an Ordinal's market. So after minting on the launchpad, you'd also be able to trade directly on Magisat. We got really nice features, like you can sweep up to 50 ordinals at once. You don't have to do like 5 transactions, 6 transactions for that. We'll have a super nice offer mechanism. So yeah, we're expanding towards an ordinals market. We're expanding towards being a launchpad, and the launchpad will be centered around rare sets. So basically, what cannot be done on other platforms.
Absolutely love that. I think that, you were talking earlier about how rare sats and exotic sats are in principle deflationary. Well, this is going to expedite that, right? So I love the fact that you're going to have this platform that can do that, right? It definitely takes the pressure off of the project founder and puts it really on you guys, right, in terms of being able to execute that. What's the timeline, if you don't mind me asking, in terms of turnaround for this? Is this something that's just being started? We're looking, 3-6 months out, or is it something that's closer than we think?
So basically, we're almost done with the development of the launchpad. We're going to we're basically in the quality assurance period where we need to test things out to see how it goes for inscribing small collections with which we test stuff out. But we're quite advanced in the development. The next step is we also want to, so when we launch the Ordinals market, we also want to basically compete with Magic Eden. So that's also in development, and we want to put some super nice features that won't be available on Magic Eden, such as, for example, sweeping 50 items. That's not possible on Magic Eden. We want to make something similar to like collection offers. I won't go into detail on how we're going to do that, but it won't be custodial. So it will be basically, I won't say collection offers because they won't be collection offers, but they will be similar for almost all intents and purposes. So I want that up as well. And we're probably, for both these developments, we're probably talking about mid and January. And then I want to pioneer the whole thing with the 10K Uncommon collection that I'm planning. I've got the art worked out for that. I actually am working with quite a famous artist that helped super famous collection on Ether in 2021. So yeah, I'll put that up and pioneer the launchpad and the ordinals market with my own 10K collection. And then I also have some creators in the pipeline that want to do this amazing big collections on rare sets. And they're obviously just creators that have been here, been in the space, have a good reputation, because like we'll be very, very picky with what gets on the launchpad, because as opposed to other like markets, it will be very difficult to set up a collection. You don't just set it up and let it go, because you need to talk to big suppliers. You need to ensure that they're ready to list to basically prevent a supply shock and stuff like that. So it's quite a lot of work to do for launching a 10K, 5K collection on black sets, uncommons, and stuff like that. So that's why we'll be super picky with what gets there, and we hope that the launchpad will spit out only the best collections and the blue chips in the market.
That's awesome. That's awesome. I'm super excited for it, and we'd love to have you on the podcast, the Ordinal Revolution podcast, once you get closer to launching that, just to kind of showcase it for the Ordinal community. So definitely appreciate you breaking that down. For the audience, if we have 212 people in here, so thank you so much for sharing the space. But we asked if you could continue, if you haven't done it, if you wouldn't mind hitting that bubble in the chat bubble in the bottom right and share the space. There's a ton of alpha coming out already in this space, so we love to educate everybody. But before we move on to this next topic, any questions for Corey about what they're building over there? Seems like really exciting stuff they got going.
By the way, sorry for jumping in. It's the first time I've shared this alpha, so you heard it here, folks, first.
You heard it here first, folks. So that means don't miss the Saturday morning, 8 a.m. Ordinal Revolution Presents Kimi and Friends Spaces, Eastern Time. But yeah, we appreciate you dropping that here exclusively. But yeah, any questions about the platform and Launchpad and everything before we move on to this next topic? All right, no questions there. And if you have any questions, just raise your hand. If I can't see you, then Shizzy and Kemi will definitely call on you. And if you haven't been on stage, I stole this from Tio. I'm not gonna lie. Let today be the first day for you to jump on stage and ask questions. But yeah, let's jump into this next topic because it is a delicate topic, in my opinion. The past couple weeks, I would say, there's been some wallets drained, which is a sad thing because I feel like we've been kind of spoiled here in Ordinals and BRC20 land, as there hasn't been, that level of malicious attacks, right? But then this past week and a half, there's been multiple wallets that have been drained. So, Query, if you could talk about your experience in that with that community member, kind of just feeling desperate and reaching out to different discords and finally reaching help through you, helping facilitate other members as well. I know helped. So sorry if I can't remember it off the top of my head, but if you could explain that situation, what happened and how the community kind of just banded together real quick to help them out.
Yeah, so it first started with a holder of mine on the Apostle of Greed collection that fat fingered his ordinal, basically. And he instead of like listing it for 0.1, he listed for 0.01 or something like that. And he got lucky because like the sorry, just a second. He got lucky because the fees went up after a bot, I think, bought it, and we were able to help him in the sense that I reached out to Greg, and Greg is, if you don't know Greg, is like this super advanced guru on Bitcoin Core, and he programs like a lot of stuff, runs indexers. He even has like his own version of indexers. He's a great guy, and I reached out to him, and we noticed that the transaction had the RBF flag set to off. What that means is basically that was an improvement on Bitcoin, where people said like, look, let's put this flag which states that the transaction cannot be replaced by another transaction with higher fees that spends those particular UTXOs. This is a little bit technical for people that didn't go in depth into Bitcoin, but what happens there is like that flag is not really taken into account by all the Bitcoin nodes. So in theory, if you replace that transaction and spend those outputs with a higher fee, then miners are profit driven and don't really care about this RBF flag. So if you pay like a higher fee on a transaction that basically replaces the first, then they will be okay to basically mine that and put that into a block because they don't really care. They're just profit driven, which is like a good thing in this case because their incentives are predictable. So we did that. We did an RBF, which cannot be done through Sparrow or other wallets. You really need to dive into Bitcoin Core and code the new transaction at the low level, specify the inputs, the outputs, and so on. And we basically made a transaction in which the guy who fat fingered the apostle moved the apostle from his address back to his address. But in this process, the UTXO changed and the buy becomes invalid. So that's doable. That's doable. And furthermore, we also extended that to like replacing buy transactions on Magic Eden. So that's also possible. And it happened. It was the big scandal where it happened with like a launchpad drop with whitelist, and people were basically doing RBFs and stealing buys from the whitelisted wallets. That's now fixed on Magic Eden's launchpad, but still for regular buys, that's like I don't see a fix soon. So that's still possible. Regarding the drains, I've recently seen a lot of fucking scams popping up on Bitcoin, stealing your uh, private keys or your mnemonic and making you sign for shit. I think that there was like runes or some sort of fake rune which stole some signatures and some ordinals or whatever the fuck happened there. But yeah, we got, for example, we got some people. We got Bongo who accidentally got drained, and we tried to recover most of the assets. And how this works is the same principle. When the attacker transfers your stuff from your wallet to his wallet, you really need to code fast a low level transaction that sends those ordinals elsewhere. So you send them to a safe address. And we did that to help out Bongo, and we managed to save like 70-80% of the assets. But it's hard to do, and it's not a thing that's deterministic, because your transaction could be propagated to in the network, but right in front of the miner who executes the next block could be a node that actually cares about the RBF flag. So in that case, your transaction won't be propagated to the miner. So it's like you got some chances, but you would need to put a high fee, and you would also need to hope that you have like 1-2 blocks before the malicious transaction confirms So your transaction has higher chances to get mined. So that's the story. I touched some technical aspects as well, but I hope it's comprehensive. And if you guys got questions about that, we can discuss the technical aspects a little bit as well.
We actually have a guy, if you think about cook and ordinal chef, he actually asked to come here and to talk about this because he telling, of course, he's innocent. So
Gotcha. So I think that would be actually Rune Alpha that is on the stage here. But before we get to him, because I'm going to definitely give him the mic. I think that's a fair, it's fair to hear everybody's side of everything. But Benny, I wanted your perspective on this. We're not going to spend a ton of time on this, but it is definitely important. And we're going to move on to our other guest speakers. But I want to hit on a couple of things. Benny, what do you see in terms of the security breach that's been happening, and how do you prevent this?
Yagobi, sorry for cutting in.
Okay, go ahead.
I don't think it was Rune Alpha that had that issue. I think it was another Rune. I don't know, something cookie. I don't know what the fuck was the name, but it wasn't Rune Alpha that drained wallets or shit like that.
Gotcha. I think the token was Cook is what I heard, but I could be wrong. But yeah, so thanks for that clarity. Benny, could you answer that those last questions? If I don't know if you have any perspective on this. If not, no worries.
Yeah. So first, the question is, has been the actual version of the Ord wallet being used, let's say, in a custodial way, or has there been like an implementation of the protocol itself? The reason I'm asking is because I'm pretty sure that the Ord team added some safety security mechanisms right within the Ord wallet from a client perspective, right? But it doesn't necessarily mean that you would benefit from these client safety secure mechanisms if you'd implement the protocol itself. So it really depends on that, what I would like, to add. So the question would go to Rune Alpha, Audichef, right? So I'm not really like familiar with the details there. So did you actually implement that yourself, the protocol, or are you using the Ord wallet custodially?
So Ordinal is not on stage right now, but but I'm not. Yeah, so I'm not sure. So Rune Alpha, just for clarity, was your platform used to mint the Cook token?
Yeah, okay, doesn't really matter. It doesn't really. I thought everybody would be here for to answer that. But let's say it has been implemented. The protocol has been re-implemented, right? So the risk is simply there that you're missing out on important information, how to protect certain things, like preventing gaps from being exploited, right? So generally, if that would have happened with the actual Ord wallet implementation, it would just mean that simply because things are not finished there yet, right, that there could be gaps then there too, right? So, and I don't believe that was something malicious when I was reading about it. What happened, there was very potential, quote unquote, just, such a gap, because the runes, I don't know if you can call it even protocol. Yeah, maybe at some point there is it's very complex, right? In terms of hidden consequences, side effects that can happen, like the way how Bitcoin transactions work versus how the protocol is working. And I can imagine it being really hard to cover all cases at this early stage. And I think from what it sounds, that was what happened. And I do not believe, by the way, all the way that has been put in that, right, on Rune Alpha, I simply do not believe you put in, for example, that much work into something like this, and the way of visible professionalism, especially that has been put there on all the hours, and then literally, pulling something off that's, with a bad intent. So, but again, there is a good reason why it's not officially out yet, and being safe on the client side and prevent certain things from happening is what needs to be explored. Even after runes actually got out, you cannot say at this point that the OR team, covered all cases. They're really, really well experienced and clever and stuff like that, right? But they will definitely take the time to do the best as possible. But you still cannot rule out that there are undiscovered gaps at some point, right? Especially when it comes to protecting basically the user on the client side's end.
Gotcha. Okay, so for just a PSA for the Ordinals community in BRC20, all the tap, all the community within Ordinals, what are some pointers or suggestions that you guys can give to keep safe?
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you. Who's okay? Rune Alpha. Yeah,
Sure.
Go ahead.
Yeah. So hi, I'm the representative from Rune Alpha. So there are only a couple of points I want to make from those incidents, because I think it was pretty straightforward, but like there were a lot of thought that make it doesn't seem so. The first thing is we are not custodial, so like we do not benefit from those incidents. All those ordinals, they're converted to gas fee and then they go to the miners. So no, we don't keep any of your ordinals. Second, actually those conversion mechanism, it actually shows on the wallet. So like I think the incident happens on Unisat wallet because because Unisat couldn't distinguish between the payment wallet and the Ordinals wallet. So that's why they actually converted those Ordinals into gas fee. But if you actually take a look at the transaction before you sign, you see that the Ordinals actually show up there. So you've been informed. You've been informed. This is not like a malicious way to getting your assets. So, but actually, we still want to make things better for the situation. So, like, if you are one of those wallets that will actually impact when you were minting on our platform, you can go to our Discord channel and file a ticket there, and then our team would happy to help you there.
Gotcha. Thank you for kind of explaining your side of things. Yeah, I mean, like right off the bat, I thought that this was going to be. First of all, can you explain what the Cook token is? Is it like a pipe token? Is it a tap token? Is it another version of Rune's token? Could you explain what Cook is? Rune Alpha, that question was for you, unless you guys weren't the platform that launched that.
We are the platform that want that. Yes.
What kind of protocol was the Cook token? Can you explain that?
Yam, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes, our platform is based on Rune protocol of cases, but as you see that cases still developing Rune in the Ordinal repository, but we want to launch an alpha version of Rune protocol of cases, so every region can go to our platform to test the first alpha version of Rune before cases give a stable version of Rune. And Cook is a token of our protocol, and we commit to back the Cook token. And if KZ release a stable version of Rune protocol, we also migrate from the old Cook token to the new Cook token in the stable version of Rune.
Okay, so that makes sense. So this Cook token was basically experimental, new kind of version of what you guys expect Rune to be, and you launched it there. So I mean, everybody that has spent some time studying the UTXO based versus the the accounting sat track based like BRC20s and tap protocol tokens, they understand that like if you use a wallet that is made for the the accounting based ones, the typical BRC20s, that you can lose items, assets, if you're trying to focus on these UTXO based protocols. If you do any transactions there, that seems to be what happened. And it would all make sense to me, honestly, if like those ordinals weren't sold right away or put listed on the market. And I'm not sure if the OMBs were, but that's what kind of gets me, my wheels kind of running in my brain, right? But at the end of the day, you guys are saying if you were a wallet that was affected by this, then you guys are going to make it right for them, right? Is that what I'm hearing?
Yeah, I think the losing of ordinals and BRC20 in user wallet is not our fault. Also, we also need to improvement the UX to prevent user from losing the ordinals or BRC20 in the wallet, and we need to improve in our UX to more clear with the users.
Okay, got it. But okay, so Rune Alpha, if you don't mind reiterating what you said earlier, if the wallet was affected by this, do you want them to reach out to you, or what does that look like?
Yes. So you can go to our official Twitter account and go to our website. There's a Discord community there. We go to the community and submit a file ticket, and then our team will help you there.
Okay, so you guys have heard it. They are saying they want to make it right. So go to the Discord for Rune Alpha, reach out to them, create a ticket, and then they are going to try to help you out. I appreciate you guys explaining your side. And I think that if you're making the effort, to make things right, that's going to go very, very far for your brand. And so I appreciate you guys explaining that. Okay, so anybody have any questions for Rune Alpha or Ordi Chef? All right. If not, then we're going to go ahead and move over to Mr. Adam McBride. Adam is a part of Emblem Vault. We've had Jake on our podcast a long time ago, so we know that these guys are really legit and really just cool, down to earth dudes. I'd really love to hear from Adam, just about Emblem Vault, and they actually get to see a lot of the other markets, like the Ethereum market, because what they're basically working cross-chain, right? Multi-chain NFT solutions, but they do have their presence here in Ordinals, a very strong presence here. So Adam, if you wouldn't mind talking about what Emblem Vault is, what you guys are doing for the future, and how you're kind of involved with the digital artifacts side.
Sure.
All right,
Yeah,
stage is yours.
The brief history of Emblem Vault is basically we allow NFTs to trade across blockchains without the NFT actually leaving its native chain. So we came, we kind of blew up in 21 when Rare Pepe started trading on Ethereum. That was all through Emblem Vault. And with Ordinals, I mean, we were obviously very early to Ordinals. I interviewed myself, Jake, and Leonidas interviewed, Casey last August. So we've been in it more than a year now. I think we were the first people to interview Casey about ordinals on X. And so, if you look back at the history of ordinals, basically all ordinals trading took place through Emblem Vault, for the first 90 days. So we provided that access to ordinals to kind of get traction. So we're pretty proud of that. And I think the thing we're going to be really proud of is moving assets from other chains onto ordinals. We expect probably in January of this coming year, we're going to have our system down, which basically will allow you to bring any NFT from any chain onto Bitcoin and in as an ordinal, to allow it to trade freely on ordinals markets. And but the asset stays on its native chain, but allow all those assets to kind of come home to Bitcoin. And we're super excited to do that.
Awesome. So could you go into a little bit more detail in like how that process takes place? You just finished with kind of like the asset stays on, let's say Ethereum, for example, it stays there, but then you're able to also add it to the ordinals ecosystem. Is it locked on Ethereum, or you can't do anything with it while it's on ordinals, and then vice versa? Okay.
Yeah, exactly. So basically what it is we create, I'll give you the simple example, which everybody will kind of recognize, right? So rare Pepes live on Counterparty, right? And what we do, if somebody wants to sell their rare Pepe or trade it or do whatever, take it into a metaverse on Ethereum, what we do is we create an NFT on Ethereum, and that NFT holds wallet addresses. So holds, Bitcoin wallet addresses. And you would then send that rare Pepe into that wallet address. And it's locked, therefore it's locked in the NFT. You don't have access to it. We don't have access to it. It's a decentralized key management system. And so when that NFT now can trade on Ethereum, move back and forth, sell it, take it into your other side, metaverse, whatever, use it. And when you want to, or the person wants to kind of have that native asset in the native wallet again, they simply burn the NFT, and burning the NFT reveals the private keys to the holder of that NFT. And so that's the system. So basically you're trading the keys to wallets. That's how Emblem Vault works. And we love it from a historical NFT perspective and from a provenance perspective. It's really the best way because the asset never moves off chain. You're not burning it. You're basically in control of that asset the entire time. And it's kind of it's a difference between like a bridge product or anything like that. And so we're excited about it because we're really the only player in that kind of space. And excited to bring it all back home to ordinals.
Awesome. So, and I'm not sure if you squeezed this detail in there, but let's say I lock in an NFT, I want to bring it over to ordinals, and I sell it on the ordinal side. Does at that point, the NFT that's locked, does it get burned at that point, or how does that work?
Yeah, so on that point, and this system, like we have to finalize this system, right? So I'm talking in generals here, but basically from a technical perspective, you would to unlock your ordinal to get it back on. Say you put a CryptoPunk, and you brought it over to ordinals. We basically would create an ordinal for you, which would hold the private keys to that Ethereum address where you sent the CryptoPunk. And when you wanted to take possession of it again on Ethereum, and do with it what you will on Ethereum, you would basically burn that ordinal, send it to a burn address, and doing that would reveal the private keys back on Ethereum. And so you would import those into any wallet on Ethereum. Yep.
Perfect. Seems like a really good system you guys have there.
I mean, the idea, just to give like the Web3 perspective, and I think this is like, a lot of people in this space will kind of vibe with this, is like, we're obviously in a multi-chain future, right? That's happening. And obviously Bitcoin's number one and probably always will be. But when you have Web3 assets, on Solana or Tezos or I don't even know, Cardano, right? We don't know where the next big thing's going to be, right? We don't know if it's going to be Bitmap or, Friendster social media platform. We don't even know, right? But being able to take your assets wherever they need to go to use them, stake them, earn rewards, take loans against them. to access that liquidity or whatever you need to do, we know that users aren't going to want to deal with fumbling around. It's going to want to be, they want it to be invisible. They just want to be able to have those assets where they need them. And so we're building tooling out right now that'll basically allow you to jump your assets across blockchains, basically one button easy. And we think that's kind of the future of Web3, and that's kind of the future we're building for. And obviously ordinals and Bitcoin are a huge part of that.
Yeah, for sure. You guys get some additional insight, I feel like, in terms of like the NFT market across the board, across all the chains here. And we saw during the summer and Bitcoin summer and all that, the hype with ordinal collections and everything. That Bitcoin was kind of, it was up there number one or number two pretty much the entire time, I felt like. And what we've seen the past, I would say, month and a half, Bitcoin's really, it's taken over that number one spot. Now, obviously, a lot of that is attributed to BRC20s. We know that. But are you seeing a little bit of a changing of the guard here? Or do you think this is going to be a temporary thing? Because let's be real, Ethereum was the king and has been for a long time with the NFT section. What do you think? What are your thoughts on this? Like, is this weird? Is this something that could be long term?
I don't think it's weird. I think people follow liquidity, right? And we've seen that. I think using that Rare Pepe example, it's like 80% of all Rare Pepes ever traded, the total volume is on Ethereum, right? And you look at stuff like through Emblem Vault, right? And so you look at stuff like that, and it's normal. And I think what we've seen, because we are connected with all these ecosystems which have used Emblem Vault to access liquidity, usually on Ethereum, is that you just see trends happening like BRC20s. And we've seen, it then moved to stamps with SRC20s. We saw it move to inscriptions with the ERC, whatever it is, ERC20s or whatever it is on inscriptions, and you look at these things and it's just, look, humans are like pattern recognition machines, right? And so we see a pattern working on one spot and we mimic it to the other spot. I was talking to Jake yesterday, and you think about the returns on ordinals, on BRC20s especially, and it's crazy, right? It's like 8,000% or whatever it is, it's crazy. But the biggest one has been on ERC20, it's inscriptions, which some of you people probably haven't even heard of. They did the exact same thing, but rather than Ordi, it's called like, I don't even know, it's called like ETHs, ETHS, right? That was the first one done on the inscriptions. Because the mint fee was so low, it was like 20 cents. Their return is like, I don't even know, it's like 70,000% or some craziness. Because now they're like $5,000 or something like that, right? So you put in 20 cents and now it's $5,000. You just look at this stuff and it's crazy. So from a trader's perspective, it's like you realize that humans are humans, and we just follow trends, and we do kind of the same thing over and over again on different chains. Obviously, this time around, Bitcoin was the leader, and that's a big difference from what happened in like 21, and even going back to DeFi summer and stuff like that. Bitcoin has actually been the leader this time, and that's exciting for everybody, I think.
100%. This time around, like you said, Bitcoin is the leader. Set the inscription meta, which has migrated to Ethereum, Polygon. Now you see Solana, AVAX. You can go on and on. Which, to your point, Bitcoin is kind of setting the trend, which a lot of people over here have been thinking is going to set that narrative heading into this massive bull market, hopefully, of what we get. Well, I appreciate you, Adam. Any questions out there for Adam McBride about Emblem Vault? Seems like I feel like I'm a high school teacher, and then it's the first week of school, and people
it looks like Query's got his hand up.
Okay, Query, go ahead.
I think you don't see the hands, brother.
I don't. I'm sorry. My co-host's supposed to help me with that. Come on, guys.
No worries. So I got a question for Adam. You said that when the NFT is burned on Ethereum, you'll get a private key revealed. But how does that work? Like cryptographically speaking, is it a centralized host that keeps the private key and just reveals when it detects the Ethereum event, or how does it function?
Yeah, it's a great question. So the private key is stored. It's generated by Web3 auth. I don't know if you're familiar with that. And the shards of the key are actually stored on chain. And from a technical perspective, like you're talking to the wrong guy on the team, like how that all works technically. But yeah, that's basically how it works. It's through a service called Web3 auth.
Okay.
Web3 auth. If you know that.
So if the shards are on chain, then they have to be encrypted.
Yeah, obviously. Yes. Sorry. Yeah, I left that one out. Yeah, they're encrypted. Yep.
But what would be the decryption key then? Like, do you hold that?
Yeah,
I'm
honestly,
just
you're
trying to
talking to the
understand it.
wrong guy. If you want to get into the details like that, you guys got to have Shannon, our dev, up on to get into the. I would be that's out of my depth. Yeah, but that's beyond my depth. Sorry, man.
Yeah, no worries, no worries. Would you do me the favor of following up with like a short description of what happens? I'm genuinely curious.
What, when you get the private keys?
Yeah, like how does the full mechanism work?
Sure.
Like,
When you would go to emblem.finance, you basically log in with your wallet. You can see all your assets there, and you'll see your different vaults. And when you want to basically claim a vault or unlock it, you sign a request that actually unlocks the vault. And doing that then reveals the private keys. And then you can take those private keys and import them to whatever wallet, depending on the chain.
yeah, no. I was curious about where the shards are kept, but I understood that you need like your technical lead for that.
Why don't I'll DM you the docs if you like.
Yeah. Follow up with me.
Yeah, no
'Cause
problem.
I'm genuinely curious.
I'll follow you right now, and if you follow me or whatever, and I'll shoot you our docs.
Cool. Thanks.
Awesome. Appreciate you, Query, asking that question. And Adam, for spending the time this morning to break down Emblem Vault. And we're definitely looking forward to what you guys got going in the future.
Yeah, man, I appreciate it. Thanks, dude.
Yeah, for sure. And then we'd love to have you on the show too, on the Ordinal Revolution podcast. I know we've had Jake on there, but haven't had the chance to have you on there. And I think that'd be a really fun episode.
Happy to do it, man. Love it.
Awesome. All right. So I did get confirmation from my co-host that there are no other hands up. So we will go ahead and move on to a good friend of the show. Bean is the founder of the Base community. What is up, Bean? I know you guys got a lot of stuff cooking all the time. If you could just kind of give an update, rundown how you're doing in general, and how the Base community is doing, and what you guys got coming up.
Yo, fam, thanks for having me up here. Just wanted to come by because I haven't been by in a while. It's amazing to see how much you guys have grown from, these 40 to 50 people spaces. My God, like over 200 plus. So definitely great to see Kimi boy, Shizzy also, and also Yuya go be becoming really the staples of this space in terms of dropping the real news and the real alpha to the market, because you guys actually give an even playing field and a very good platform for a lot of artists, builders, and creators in this space. And I just want to say thank you for that. And I commend you guys on what you guys have been able to build. So everybody, give some hearts in here, get those emojis going, press that purple pill and like and retweet the room, get the message out. These guys are, one of the best, probably one of the top builders in this space that do not get recognized for what they do in terms of creating visibility and a platform for a lot of builders here. So just want to thank you guys on that. The reason why I am up here is, obviously the Base community, Ordinal support desk, Hype, Block, Shitcoin Shaman, Crypto Cowboys 1 and 2 out, Kramer, the list goes on. They've been doing a great job and just keeping the vibes great in the market, dropping a lot of alpha, of course. You can always rely on Block and Hype and Cowboy and the guys from Ordinal Support Desk to drop, very, I would say important information and key facts that'll help you, surf through these markets. So shout out to those. I just want to shout out JMB, baby. You know what I'm saying? Luke was not happy about, JPEGs getting on the block. So we had to do a little protest to those people that do not love art on Bitcoin, because we are all supporters of the free world here. So yeah, we the community spun up a community, created project in spaces, and yeah, shout out to Block Hype and all the individuals, J25, Tandy, Tomlinson, all these guys that sat in space and say, hey, we need to, make a stand, and stand up for our rights and, the power of Bitcoin, which is the peer-to-peer power, right? It's about the people that build within it. So I just want to let everybody know that, JMB is live on Magic Eden right now. There's been over, 200 buys, I believe, on secondary already, and it's rolling up on 0.5 Bitcoin in sales. And shout out to the community for building that, because that was actually, a live open meta mint, for anybody who wanted to get in and really, protest and stand up for what we believe in, is Bitcoin is for the people. Secondly, the reason why I'm up here is, yes, I'm ready to launch Based Art V2. A one-in-one generative art collection. It's going to be 11 pieces. And the alpha is, obviously, we love our internet JPEG diamonds. You know what I'm saying? So there's been a lot of great talks about the black sats, and Rory actually speaking about them and possibly adding them in. I actually been cooking this for the last 2 months. So I actually created, some AR/VR black internet diamonds that I'll be throwing out to the market, and really embrace the digital artifact aspect of that. So that's all I really have to say. And I just want to say thank you for having me up. I really don't have time to take questions, but shout out to JMB, bass artist, the Goosenals, you know what I'm saying? Ordinal Support Desk. I love those guys. I love the grassroots movement, and I love supporting, the small builders in this space. And I will continue to do that. So thank you very much, guys, for having me up here. And again, have a beautiful Saturday. Love what you all do.
Appreciate it, Bean. Great founder, leader of the base community. I'll tell you, man, like just jumping in their chat, you can see the support that he brings from a founder and leader perspective. And he has his, his group, his crew that are kind of like that secondary leader group that also kind of takes care of things a little bit when he's away. He runs a full-time business as well. So appreciate you, Bean. Definitely we'll look out for the drop coming up, and I know that you guys are going to smash it. So appreciate that. Okay, Tosio, you are up next, sir. You wanted to speak about something that you guys got going on with Culture Pods, I believe. But I won't speak any further. I'll let you go ahead and handle that.
Thanks, Sir Gilby. I think I lost my voice, so I may sound weird here right now. But yeah, we just recently dropped Culture Pod, so I guess the TLDR here is, it all started with Bali Blockchain Center, and we figured it's best to reimagine this. And it's not like it's the only time that only one nation would adopt Bitcoin Ordinals, but it would be a variety of nations or different cultures that would adopt Bitcoin Ordinals. So basically, Culture Pods would be like a parent-child collection for us in Bitcoin Wales, whereas it's all about preserving the cultural heritage and embracing different cultures from different nations. Yeah, I didn't want to take too much of the stage here, and yeah, I think, yeah, I lost my voice from last night, but yeah, it was crazy though.
So are you out in Miami?
Yeah, yeah. Casey and the others were here. I think there were like over 50 people at the Cypherpunk Labs party last night, and yeah, it's just been nonstop meeting up with different ordinal enjoyers here, and everyone got to connect with everyone who needs to connect with. And yeah, there were some VCs over here last night too. They were looking into ordinals as well.
Nice, nice. Sounds like you might have had yourself a great time last night, and that could be part of why your voice is gone. Is maybe screaming up in the club at the bottle service there. No, I'm just messing around with you. But that's awesome, man. Being in Miami, connecting with all those ordinal enjoyers and figures in the space and stuff. In terms of culture pods, you don't have to speak for a very long time about it, but is there anything you can give us in terms of that, like collaborations? If you need to keep it close to the chest, completely understood. But I'm sure there's some people in the audience that would like to pry a little bit deeper.
Yeah, for sure. Because a lot of people are getting confused with it. So I guess people thought that the name of the collection was Bali Whales, but it's actually Culture Pods. I'm planning to put out a different illustration to further understand it. Just imagine a parent child, and it's a family tree. So the one of one uh from the Genesis collection, from the 10K, basically that's the parent, and underneath that would be different nations combined. So it starts with Bali. That's why we had that markdown with the official announcement with the partnership with the Bali government. And yeah, we talked about this in the Nolcha show as well, with together with Nakib and Luro and Elok from the Cypherpunk Labs. That yeah, we're just trying to onboard different nations one block at a time. So this idea started with between Nakib and I when we got to connect to each other in a random space, and we after that we had a call, and he mentioned that he had this vision of onboarding different nations to ordinals, and I had the same vision as well. So what we did was we just combined each other's resources. So let's say for him, he has connections from Asia. He knows people from Malaysia, Vietnam, Japan, and for me, it would be Philippines, El Salvador, and perhaps Argentina too. I'm looking that as a prospect. Although it's a challenge at the moment for El Salvador, but I have a different way to navigate that, because I did see what Max Kaiser was saying about the ordinal, so it's gonna be a bit challenging at the moment. But basically, for culture pots, there's gonna be 700 certificates. Out of 700, there's only 100 certificates for Bali, and basically, if you got that certificate, we just airdrop the Bali whale to you, and these uh these Bali whales are gonna be inscribed on the Bali set. And I got to meet Billy Rusty as well as Danny DZ the other day, and shout out to them for locating these Bali sets for me. And yeah, it's just for us, we're focused on collaborations here, and you know this partnership wouldn't be possible without teamwork and collaborations with different amazing individuals in this space.
Awesome, awesome. So, just to get some clarity there, so the government is involved with this project, like they're working with you guys, right?
Yeah, and I think it's safe to announce now, since Nakib gave the go signal during the Noche show. So further, yeah, beyond the art, I think what's gonna happen is every Balinese art that's gonna be on ordinals, you would have discounts if you go to Bali. Let's say it could be discounts to restaurants or hotels. So if you own a Bali art or inscription that's connected to Bali, then you would have discounts later on once they implemented it. I believe Nakib mentioned that.
That's awesome, man. Um, yeah, I'm gonna if I'm heading to Bali, I'm making sure that I got a Bali well in my wallet, so I can just show the restaurant, hey, I got to get my 20% discount there. No, that's gonna be awesome, especially whenever the additional details come out. And don't worry about Max Kaiser. People are just gonna forget about him. eventually. I know he's in El Salvador, but you also have your connection to that area too. So we'll see what happens there. All right, I can't see hands, so Kimmy or Shizzy, if there are any hands up for Tosio, please let me know. If not,
We are good, bro.
okay, perfect. I feel like I'm like partially blind, just only on these hands here. So, okay, I appreciate you, Tosio. We know you're going to do great things with the onboarding these other nations. I think it's amazing. Education to the world is something that's just very, very important, right? So we appreciate you spending time with us this morning, and then breaking down what you're doing there. All right, so I kind of saved Benny here for, I wouldn't say last necessarily. We might have one or two other speakers up, but I did it because I know that he has some news that he wants to drop here. Obviously, OPI was announced by Best in Slot, and so Benny. Other than that, if you want to touch on that, you can. If you don't, no worries, you don't have to. But if you could speak about what's been going on with the track ecosystem, what you guys are doing with Tap, what's next for all that stuff, and then you can speak on OPI if you'd like as well.
Yeah, so basically I'm heads down on development, which includes bitmap and DMT net indexing, because there's a high demand for that. To have that done, it just pretty complex topic. So I'm building what I'm calling the compendium. It's basically a track index of data that can be useful for people to find patterns within as of digital matter theory, and use these patterns to decide which ones they want to use for either bitmap or DMTs, like these net kind of tokens, right? That received some pretty much hype, and I think that generally that's where aside from the AI project I'm working on, that's consuming the rest of this year, before we'll have like full indexing for the entire DMT stuff. So that companion is needed. We will be moving here forward with the net indexing itself, like really carefully, which means that we will start with the net indexing first, because that has been has been a token that people were minting like insanely, and they really deserve to be able to trade that really soon, and transfer and all that stuff, right? So it will then be added as an integral part of the TAP protocol. Yeah, and same goes for all that new bitmap stuff that Bloggermodo was laying out, and that's where my current focus in terms of development lays. And I will start to talk about we as soon as the track company itself finish the hiring process, because then we will have a pretty substantial team that then continues to work on the different fields. Yeah, for OPI, I mean, it was kind of expected. It's actually by itself, it's cool to have some option like this. It's just that it's like a fixed 0.9 fork of ordinals that moves forward from there. So I don't really consider this a OR team following ordinals version anymore. Well, it's actually called fork, not only on GitHub, but it's an actual fork, and that gets along with the strategy there in this partnership, as I see it, between these BRC20 players there, right? So they officially, well, back then it was called freeze, but it was pretty clear that it's going to be a fork to sit on 0.9. They go from there at some point, of course. When you fork something, you still need to polish things, add new features, right? And it will diverge from the actual Ord wallet. And we pretty much here of ordinals itself. Make of it what you want. I am not going to say publicly here what I think about that. Not fork. Don't understand me wrong. A fork by itself is totally fine. Yeah, the Ordinal wallet itself is open source, right? Has an open source license. There's nothing bad about it, right? Not at all. It just comes with a few things here and there that I won't address publicly here. Rather in the track Discord, I said that pretty prominent. What I think of all the other stuff that comes with it. But you should, make up your own mind on that. That's basically my words on that.
Gotcha. So, obviously, I don't have an understanding of the indexing as you do, right? But from just a high level of someone that's not like smart, even close to as you developers, it seems like it was a move for them to obviously like be able to accept a bunch of different indexers to make the public feel like, okay, this isn't going to be centralized anymore, but also to kind of get away from the Ord group, right? Because in case like they don't want to always rely on something if there's like a huge change, because they know that Casey isn't crazy about inscriptions, text inscriptions, JSON inscriptions. So do you see that being part of the reason why they did this as well, to kind of protect the future of what they're building?
That's there's always an official and an unofficial reason. So well, I don't, yeah, we're entering here some really need to be careful here. So because people rely on that, but the point is just this, that if you stick and freeze an actual version and then call it freeze first and then it's an actual fork that works on an old version, right? You are basically committing you're basically not committing to any further developments, right? And there is a good chunk of people in the ordinal space that want these exact new features and all these new awesome things that are being added to ordinals. So at some point, people need to decide, right, where they go. And you have certain ways how you solve that. You can just, offer cool features, new cool features, right? You can add more reliability, let's say, yeah, and you can just not pick the most low-hanging fruit, but try to go with and follow the actual ordinals updates, right? At least until to the point when you have a version there that you can rely on, and a mature version, you can actually do that, yeah. And the point is, how much time do you want to spend on that, doing that? Because it's very simple to say, okay, you know what, screw it, just use this version right now for our concerns, and we risk basically have some friction point here, yeah, and risk and to have a division, yeah, which is given, yeah, just by the fact that it's a fork, right? But there's also, if we are scared that nobody will pick that up, we'll give them something to use that, right? And there we're entering the the area where I'm personally, I'm not agreeing with. So is that problem solving? No, to me this is not problem solving at all. Casey doesn't care about that because he basically gives the platform to do stuff. And our job is literally, because we wanted these meta protocols and we want them. We want Bitmap, we want BSC20, we want all that stuff. And it's our job to get along with that. Yeah. And rather making a move like, saying, you know what, screw it, I don't respect that at all, right? And potentially bringing up a competition there. Competition is generally good, but again, the way you bring up this competition, that's what people need to look at and make their own opinions. with, right? So again, I'm not saying forks are generally bad. Many awesome projects, open source projects, they split in different forks, and every fork made their own awesome stuff, right? Sometimes forks are more successful than others, right? But then there's also intention behind it, and I can really, like, literally only tell people to make their own decisions and really connect the different pieces why things are happening now the way they are happening. Publicly, I won't say nothing, only that I'm totally not agreeing with that, and I'm putting like literally like a ton of work in making it work, that everything works while following all these updates, right? And that's, I believe, the path that's the most successful here, because everybody in the ordinal space wants to use actual ordinals. The demand is, we want the actual progression of the ordinals wallet, of the ORD protocol, with that team, and whatever team comes after that, that sits right on this official ORD project, right?
Got it. Okay, makes a lot of sense. Okay, so I'm gonna go back a little bit here. First of all, let me know, Shizzy, and then Kimi, if there are any hands. But let's go back a little bit. We're gonna back off a little bit of the OPI. We kind of got your perspective on that, and it makes sense. But from the indexing of the NAT token, is, first of all, you guys already have like so much on your plate. Is this gonna bring like too much? Because I feel like the way that DMT and the non-arbitrary token protocol works is that, like, you can talk about, you could literally start deploying like a ton of tap tokens because of just this protocol. What are your thoughts on the future of that? Like, is that going to be overwhelming, or do you feel like you guys are preparing like your team for
No, that's not overwhelming, and also willing to allocate parts of the team to that. It's just that you need to plan it properly, right? That's why I'm doing that companion, because I believe that is what you need, right? You need to have an encyclopedia, basically, of whatever happened and happens right now on the chain, in order to find the right patterns there for you, yeah. And adding that in a way that it gets along with the tap protocol itself, yeah, without bloating it too much. And that's that's basically what I'm doing here. But the same happens for Bitmap, and there we're more or less entering also future Ordinals wallet upgrades too, right? So that all plays a role, and you need to carefully plan things and figure the different consequences if you do things like that. And most of them are basically worked out, and then we go moving forward. So the overwhelming part is probably on the end of people who are interested in that, but they need to wait for that. Yeah, that's more on that end. But that's simply how it is, right? On the other hand, net is going to be the first thing that's going to be indexed, right? To relieve that wait time, yeah, a little bit, and then we're moving forward from there. And I believe that, especially there was a lot of talk before about rare sets, right? This is all coming from the non-arbitrary view of things, and there is an actual demand to explore that further, yeah. And having that as an integral part, especially when it comes to Bitmap, is key, yeah, because this is one of the driving factors that makes people being interested in ordinals in the first place. And if you commit as a protocol to something like this, then it's also your burden, to support that. Well, but not necessarily for every protocol, right? But the belief is there with the TAP protocol that this should be part of the TAP protocol itself to support that further, right?
Yeah, no, yeah, completely agree with you. Um, Speaking of the TAP protocol, that has built up some momentum in terms of marketplace on Ordinal's wallet. As everybody or most people that follow me on here know, I do a daily list of market cap updates, which takes like that first hour of me waking up to complete it all. But I'm noticing some traction happening on with the TAP tokens. Do you know anything about, if the Tap X, I know that you're not the founder or anything like that, but you do talk to them sometimes. Is that something that's coming soon, or you really don't know when they're looking to launch that?
Well, they are working independently on things. I help out here and there if they have questions. Yeah. But I'm not really involved in the absolute details of when the releases are supposed to be. All I can say is that at some point, track itself will start with its own set of solutions, yeah, to support the TAP protocol and ordinals as a whole. And we're nearing that. So ideally, the tap X is hopefully done. At least that's my suggestion to them, to have it done at least in January or something, right? So and then and then what could happen, for example, if we have an actual track wallet, right, or track developed wallet for tap protocol, they can have it easier to hook into that, right? Just an example, yeah. And but the actual specifics, I really don't know. I would lie if I would be able to tell anything there.
Gotcha. Well, I feel like you just kind of slipped out a little bit of alpha about the wallet there, so that's exciting. You probably already announced that in the Discord. I just haven't been in there in a little bit, so definitely looking forward to that. A track wallet that supports TAP protocol, and I assume that you're going to support other protocols too as well. So very, very exciting. Well, if there are any questions, like I said, raise your hand. Kimmy. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, Benny, you said that you're working on some bitmap stuff. Is there anything at all you can give us with that, man? You said that it definitely piqued my interest.
Well, God, you are the alpha hunter here, really. So yes, there's something, yeah, for sure. If I can say that, there is something, yeah. It's also falls in the DMT category, not exactly the block runner DMT category, but it basically falls in the same category, and I need to bring it basically together in the compendium. And again, that compendium is basically an index, an encyclopedia of data to find interesting patterns, right? And this is supposed to be used not just by actual people to find these patterns, but actual for indexing itself. Yeah. So that I can say. Okay.
Thank you, Benny. Appreciate you, buddy.
I love having Shizzy as a partner. He definitely digs in, and he'll be relentless on it. So he gets that alpha out of you, Benny. He gets the alpha out of you.
Yeah, true.
Yeah, so amazing stuff, man. We're definitely looking forward to it, especially the wallet part. I'm going to look into that even more. But we appreciate you being up here. You're always consistent with jumping into our spaces on Saturday mornings. We appreciate it. We know you're a super busy guy. And we look forward to those developments you just mentioned. All right, so we are going to move to our last guest here that's on stage, David Palmer. Kimmy had brought David Palmer to our attention, and it looks like there's definitely some interesting details. I don't want to spill the beans on any of it here, but it seems like I'll let you talk about it, David. It seems like maybe some IP stuff that you might be involved with. But the stage is yours, and if you could explain to the Ordinal community what you're about and what you are bringing to the community.
First off, I want to say, thanks for having me on the show. Very exciting times for Bitcoin. I mean, there's no other time to be in the space than right now. And it's really exciting for me to be involved with Ordinals and to have been, sort of referred to you guys from Dante over at RuneX, and really brought to my attention what's been going on. And I've been seeing it because I'm in crypto daily. I mean, that's all I do for a living. And pretty much what ended up happening was we're going to be able to bring some really strong IP into the ordinal space. And what we've been doing is kind of following the guidance from Dante on exactly, you know, how to go about doing this, because I'm not familiar with a lot of you guys, and, you know, I'm new to the space. But what ended up happening is we ended up obtaining Stan Lee's YouTube channel. He had an original channel that was called Marvelous. Well, it's called Marvelous TV now. It was called the World of Heroes channel back in the day. And he had listed the channel, put it up on YouTube, and they had probably about 286,000 subscribers at the time. And they had a series that ended up going viral on YouTube, which was called Bad Days. And so Stan Lee and Michael Eisner, who's ex-VP over at Disney, ended up coming together with this IP, and they ended up releasing 3 seasons, 36 episodes of Bad Days. And what ended up happening is a friend of mine was going through a lawsuit at the time with Google over AndroidTV.com, and ended up actually battling the big boys and ended up winning. And when he ended up winning that, he ended up winning the lawsuit, got a lot of money. And the person who helped him was one of the right-hand guys to Eisner. And the conversation came up over a dinner table of all kinds of things. And I happened to be right there when it happened. And they said that they were going to be dumping the channel. They were just going to basically delist the channel. That was going to be it. The Stan Lee channel was going to be no more. And my friend turned around to him and said, hey, would you guys be interested in selling it? And they weren't really fond of the idea at first because they didn't know exactly what was going to happen with the channel. You know, are you guys going to turn it into a workout channel, a food channel? What are you guys going to do with the channel? You know, type of situation came up, and we told them we wanted to continue the legacy of Stan Lee and basically keep going with the channel, keeping it superhero themed, just like they had already done in the past. And so it ended up going through that they let us buy the channel. Well, my friend was the one who paid for it. And they said, okay, you're going to have to clear the whole channel of all the content and start from scratch and then change the name. And then at that point, we had asked them, well, what are you going to do with the Bad Days IP and all the episodes? And they said, well, it's had its run. It's over with. It's done. We're just going to, you know, blank it out. That's it. So he obtained not only the YouTube channel, but all the episodes of Bad Days, which were, you know, they're basically a superhero, kind of Charlie Chaplin style, where it's a superhero having a bad day. And they're very viral, you know, 50 million views. And, you know, some of them have 7 million, 10 million. I mean, just really went viral. And so my friend obtained the channel, obtained Bad Days. We ended up getting Stan Lee's rants, which was Stan doing rants, which is probably about 50 or 60 videos, something along that line. And along with that, when the IP was purchased, was what I call a treasure. There were limited edition lithographs that really did not get released to the market, that were held at you know, Stan's office where he was at. And when we ended up purchasing the IP, we ended up getting these lithographs. So we took the lithographs and we, you know, basically didn't think anything of it at the time. My friend had, you know, I wasn't in crypto at the time. He wasn't in crypto at the time. And he had purchased the channel. We ended up policing it on YouTube, found out that it was bad management on the YouTube channel. If they would just have policed the channel, it would have been more successful, because so many people were just taking and monetizing the videos on there, and they didn't, you know, bad management on the YouTube part of it. And, you know, Stan hired people that wanted to work for Stan for free just to be able to say, hey, I work with Stan Lee. How incredible is that? You know, and they weren't really qualified for the jobs that needed to be done on the marketing aspect for it. So a couple years, 2 or 3 years went by. I ended up getting into crypto. Lost my ass in the very beginning, you know, being a newbie coming into the space. And this is way before COVID, by the way. And, at that time they had gambling set up and I was gambling on there, move the dial over, roll the dice, and, lost my ass on it. Ended up buying tokens and getting into that whole thing. And then the next day, the whole gambling site is shut down and I got stung. But I kept believing in crypto for the belief of it, in the blockchain and the theory that was behind it, and really stuck to it, and ended up, saying, you know what, I see something here, and went ahead and started getting into the marketing aspect of it, and got kind of my friends involved in crypto. Magic money, this is a bunch of bullshit, and nobody really believed in it but me. I ended up entering, if you could believe this, I ended up entering a contest where I ended up taking first prize, and it happened to be for a crypto project out of 3,000 people. And it ended up kind of building a name for myself in the space because I have a real vibrant personality. And I started making videos about different projects and stuff like that. And they said, man, we've never seen anything like this in crypto. This guy's exciting. He does all these different characters. I was doing a pirate. I was doing, Billy Bob Butt Crack, Blackbeard Willie, Gabby Gambino, all these different characters that I was doing on there, and kind of build up a following of myself. Well, I ended up meeting a group of guys in Australia, and we got into gaming really heavy. And we'd go into projects and game away and do all this stuff in gaming. Ended up building a real good relationship with my now partner that I have. There's two of us. And we had come up and we said, man, we're really doing good with this gaming stuff. We got projects calling us, asking us questions about the staking, about the farming. How come our project is just dumping? We don't understand how this tokenomics works. And between my friend and myself, we had a lot of knowledge on how to not get burned as a project, basically, because we were going in as a huge group and just smashing on projects, whaling in on it as a large group. Then after that situation happened, we said, hey, man, we've got all this knowledge in crypto. Why don't we turn around and try to do something with your friend who has the Bad Days IP? So we ended up saying, okay, let's go ahead and do that. And we ended up launching it in, what was it, 2 years ago. Built the game first before we ever sold any NFTs. Game was successful. Did our launch. We did pretty good. And then my friend, who was not even wanting to be involved in crypto, it took me a lot of talking and a lot of nonsense to go through to convince him to even allow us. He licensed us the IP for Bad Days to be able to do NFTs in our game. And it was just a nightmare. Oh, screw that crypto crap. It's a bunch of garbage. This stuff is magic money. It's going to be this, that, and the other. And I said, man, I'm telling you, crypto's going to be here. It's going to be here to stay. Bitcoin's going nowhere. We got Ethereum. We got Bitcoin. I'm telling you, this NFT thing is something that's good, and we can build a proper game behind it. And he just didn't believe in it. And then finally, once it hit mainstream news during the where the coronavirus hit, everyone had their time. And then you had that huge spike that went up, and he started seeing shit on TV. NFTs are selling for X amount of dollars and stuff. And then he called us back. He said, all right, I'll license you the rights to be able to use this series, this IP from Stan Lee, the Bad Days IP. And I'll allow you to go ahead and use it and run with it. But I'm not paying for anything. You guys got to bootstrap this stuff yourself. So me and my partner ended up bootstrapping the whole thing ourselves. We had been day traders smashing on games, and we had built up a lot of Ethereum. ETH started shooting through the door. Luckily, because when we built the game, it was kind of ironic, because when people think, oh yeah, building a game is no problem. You just build the game, pay a guy a couple thousand, that's it. They don't realize how much money it costs to build a game. So even before we knew that we had the money, we told the company that was building the game for us to go ahead. We're going to do it. We'll come up with the deposit somehow. We had built up enough Ethereum between him and I when Ethereum shot up to be able to bootstrap it ourselves. Thank God. Because when we were day trading Ethereum, it was like $200. So between him and I, we had built up a lot of Ethereum. Turned around, did that, flipped it, My wife wasn't too happy at the time because she looked at it as, I've never seen that type of money coming in. And what are you going to do now? And I said, baby, we're going to build a game. And that was a huge thing. That was a big, sort of discussion going between me and my wife. But she ended up believing in me, man, and believed that I could make something happen. And I believed in crypto. So we ended up doing it. And after the situation happened, my friend who was the non-believer, he wanted out of it. So the money that we obtained from the community, we ended up buying the IP ourselves and just saying, it's a lot of money. He doesn't want to be in crypto anymore. He wants to be bought out. So me and my partner, Damien, turned around and said, okay, we're going to buy you out. When we bought him out, we ended up obtaining all of those lithographs that were signed by Stan Lee. To my knowledge, I have never seen even one on eBay, Amazon, or anything. And I think the biggest thing that comes into play with, I can understand how laser eyes or these guys that are in Bitcoin saying, oh man, they're minting JPEGs and this is stupid. And they just don't have an understanding of what an NFT can mean, is the big point that I always like to try to bring up. So for me, I'm on the opposite side of the fence. I'm on the side of the fence that says, listen, you're looking at it as a different perspective that's saying it's clogging up the chain. I'm looking at it as a historical, as in something that's a piece of art like a Picasso that could get minted to the #1 blockchain that's out there, which is Bitcoin. And that wasn't available to us when we started. I mean, I really wish that it was, but it's not. But now it's given us a good opportunity. And to be honest with you, I didn't really even want to do this in the beginning. And Dante talking to me a lot kind of changed my mind about it. And I said, you know what? He's right. This is historical. These lithographs have never seen the light of day. They've been in the box the whole time. It's like finding a treasure that you've never seen before, digging up buried treasure is the way that I looked at it. But the thing that looked at it the most was from a historical standpoint. Yes, I minted a JPEG that's going to be on chain. But what does that NFT represent? It represents a rare piece of art. And that's what we're getting ready to do with Ordinals. We want to take those 100 lithographs, and mind you, we were going to be using those only for people to be able to win an asset in playing the game. We turned around and said, we're not going to do that. We're going to take a majority of the lithographs and we're going to turn around, make them available on Ordinals. We're going to keep a small amount for the people in gameplay and then keep a few for ourselves, probably. Maybe a couple for me and a couple for my partner. But
Gotcha.
the rest of them we're going to be making available on Ordinals, which is huge. Why? Because when you look at something that you're going to mint to the #1 blockchain, I think it should be history making. I think it should be something that's profound, something that's rare. I've been a collector for many years. I've done over 333 autograph signings with stars, celebrities, and everything like that. But I always made it a point when I did a signing, don't just get an 8x10 signed. Try to get a premium item signed, something that nobody else had signed. That's kind of what I looked at. Would you want to have John Hancock's signature on a piece of paper or on the Constitution? And you have to look at it like that from perspective standpoint. Stan Lee signed a lot of stuff. But the items that are far more rare that he signed are the ones that I put value on, which would be similar to these Bad Days lithographs. All of the lithographs, there's 4 different styles, and each one of them has roughly about, I'd say, 20 to 25 that are available. We're going to mint them on uncommon sats, which was by the direction of Dante. Fabulous. I love that. I want to make something that's a good product. So we went ahead and said, okay, let's go ahead and try to get these sats. We're going to get 100 of them, turn around, pay for it, get them inscribed, and then go ahead and put them up on the market.
Well, that's a lot of information there, and definitely interesting. So, from an IP perspective, these lithographs, like a legal perspective, there's 0% liability from your end to be able to do this, right?
Yeah, these were specifically made lithographs. They have the Bad Days characters on them. They were signed by Stan Lee, and Stan Lee and Michael Eisner were the ones who created Bad Days. And from a standpoint of a piece of art, what's good about these, and I'm not going to reveal all the secrets, but each individual lithograph has something on it, that much I'll tell you, that makes them each a one of one. No two lithographs are exactly the same. And it's not just because Stan Lee signed his name differently. There is something specific on it, and we're not going to reveal it right away, that makes each one of these lithographs, in my opinion, a one of one. And when you do something that you're going to do it, and you talking about IP, being that it's a piece of art and you're putting it out into the marketplace, you know, you have to have that backing. You know, a lot of money got spent on being able to even obtain the IP, to be able to even obtain the YouTube channel. When we first got the YouTube channel, it had 286,000 subscribers. Now it has close to 1 million with over 2 billion views on it. When you come across that type of history, I mean, I never in my wildest dreams ever thought I would own anything that was Stan Lee. I mean, just to be straight up honest, I used to ride to the 7-Eleven store and buy his comic books off the rack for 12 cents. So a lot of the things that you have to bring to Bitcoin, I think, when it comes as in NFTs, it's not only just doing, you know, things where you can take and put a JPEG up and inscribe it on the blockchain. It's what that NFT represents. What does that NFT represent? It represents a piece of art that the person will get the real piece of art. So when you own this NFT, and I'm sure we're going to have to figure out how to ship it out to everybody, you're actually buying a piece of art. That NFT represents that piece of art. It's not just, oh, we took a picture of the lithograph and now 5,000 people own it. No, this is the real lithograph. All 100 were all signed by Stan Lee. All of them are going to go out to the person that purchases the lithograph. So not only are they going to have the NFT, they're going to have the actual piece of art to flex with that. And I think that that's a big part of what missed a lot of connection in the space, was with people that know nothing about crypto. They always say, why the hell would you buy a JPEG, man? They just Googled that shit, copy and paste it, and you were an idiot and bought it. It's not even so much that. It's what does that represent? I always wanted to tie NFTs with real items. I don't know how many people have done that on Bitcoin, but we're going to do it. I want to have those NFTs represented as a piece of art, and each one of those pieces of art have an individual, boy, I can't give it away. Every one of them is a one-of-one. That much I'll tell you. There's something on each individual lithograph that makes each one of them different. And
Gotcha.
I think that's a big part of it, is that it's tied to the real asset. You don't own a JPEG, you own the NFT and the real piece of art.
Gotcha. Yeah. I mean, it's definitely all exciting for sure. I think the only other person that I can think of was Peter Schiff. Actually partnered with surprisingly, he partnered with an artist and released an Ordinal collection with an art piece that was signed by the artist, and it was shipped out supposedly to the buyers. This was back in, I want to say, like July or something like that. So this is a bit different, you know, like you said, the historical factor of Stan Lee and all that stuff. So very, very exciting stuff. I'm looking forward to seeing you know, when you guys launch this. Do you have a timeline in terms of when you're looking to be able to launch it?
Well, we already got the sats. And I would mention names on how it all happened, except I don't know if they want to be exposed or not. But they are people that are heavily into ordinals, and they helped us, bro. I mean, we would have never been able to obtain 100 uncommon sats to be able to do this with. You know, I would have rather had 100 rare sats, but that isn't going to happen. But you know,
For sure.
we did the best that we could, and we got a lot of help from people in your community that made it happen. Dante from RuneX being one, and then the other people that put the deal together. And we're getting ready to inscribe them as we speak within the next couple of days, when we're actually going to launch them. I wouldn't say that it's probably 2-3 weeks at tops, maybe even sooner, because we want to get these out there. And I think that that's an important step in it, to be able to continue on with what we're doing, because we've already had some good success with our new game, and we're kind of gearing our new game around the ordinal space. You know, being able to play a game in ordinals, I think, is huge.
Yeah, for sure. 100%. You know, the gaming side is building some momentum, and then the real world assets meta is also you know, one of the bigger metas that's growing heading into the bull market. But David, man, I want to thank you for you jumping on stage and really breaking down your history in crypto, you know, showing that you had some skin in the game, as well as you know, all the aspects of your project that you're going to launch here. Definitely a fan of Stan Lee and his work, so I'm going to be, you know, looking out for more details as you guys get closer to launch. I want to give the audience a chance to ask any questions to David.
Quarry has his hand up.
Quarry, go ahead.
Let the audience ask first, because I want to make just a brief point about something else. Thank you.
All right. Who else has their hand up?
Real quick, I'll ask a question. So, if I was skeptical, I would obviously I looked at your account. It's you have like 25 followers. What is up with that? I mean, to me, if I'm looking at that from the outside looking in, I'm looking at it very scammy.
Oh no, not at all. It's basically just because, you know, with the tech that's been involved, I never got into Twitter. I never got into Twitter space, as in that. Our project itself, we're on our new Twitter handle is Bad Days Bitcoin. We've had a Discord. We have a Telegram group, and they're both large in numbers. You know, our Telegram group is probably like 6,000-7,000 people. Our Discord group, it's all based around ETH. And that's why you see now I'm going a different direction, because I want to bring our community from ETH into Bitcoin. And I think to be able to do that, you have to start getting people to change their mindset on exactly what's going to happen with the project from that standpoint of it. But from a skeptical standpoint, I mean, I can understand that, being that I don't have a lot of followers, but I've never been involved in Twitter or actually going live on Twitter to be able to do something like that. We have a pretty large following on our Twitter account that we already have, but it's all ETH based. So we're taking and doing new channels for the Bitcoin side of it, because that's where we're headed towards. And that's basically why.
Shizzy, did that answer your question there?
Yeah, I still think you should use the ETH account, because if you guys want this to take off at all, you can't come in here with a 25 follower.
Oh no, you can look at Marvelous NFTs on Twitter, and you can see how many people we have in there.
That doesn't mean it's you.
Go on Discord, and you can look in our Discord account, which is Marvelous NFTs on Discord, and you can see that we have a lot of people in there. You can go to baddays.io. You can go to marvelousnfts.com. We've got a game that's working. We've got, you know, our website on there that explains everything. We have a white paper that's on there. And it's the main thing is that it's all ETH based. And what we're going to be doing is we're going to be doing both sides. We're going to be doing it to where whatever people want to be involved with the new game, because we have our old game there. Whatever people want to be involved with the new game that's going to be Bitcoin based, they're going to be able to come over to that side. We're still going to be giving rewards to our original community, which is for them to be able to come over there, or you can stay on the original side. We've been working this entire year and a half on all new updates for the game. All the new updates for the game are going to be coming out. So we have the fusing of superpowers with characters. We have the stun is going to be activated, petrified. All these updates we've been sitting on because of the bull market. We felt that when the time that you have that's down, don't waste it. Turn around, build, develop, and continue on. And that's what we did. We, in that same time, we built 2 games. We made large improvement updates that we're sitting waiting to launch on our original game. And that's basically where we've been at. You know, so from the standpoint of have we been around in the space? Have we built a community? Yes. We were on one of the biggest launch pads, which was Bluezilla when we launched on ETH. We ended up going with Ferrum, Bluezilla. Paid Network was at that time, and we ended up dropping them because they didn't follow through with their promises. And, you know, we're just a couple of guys. We're not out to, you know, break the world down, but we thought it would be a good idea if we're going into the space of Bitcoin to make some historical events that we personally wanted to do, which was inscribing some lithographs on the blockchain that the people could actually get a real physical lithograph in their hands.
Gotcha. Yeah, that is one thing I would if there was a suggestion, it would just be leverage your you know, your already established accounts a bit, even if you are creating you know, new accounts for the Bitcoin community, because what that does, it does show your skin in the game, whether it's Ethereum or other chains. That's okay. You know, you don't have to, you know, you can show what you've created. That's actually going to give you more cred, in my opinion, which I'm looking at the website right now and it looks good. It looks really good. So
yeah, well, like I said, we've been doing this for a while. It's not something, it just, Bitcoin wasn't available to do anything like that. And still the technology for Bitcoin isn't to the point of the gaming aspects of it that Ethereum, Polygon layer 2 solutions are. But there's still ways to be able to gamify and bring something new to the Bitcoin side of things, which that's basically our goal is we would love to be able to take the community that we already have and bring them over to that side. I think that that's a big part of it. And that's really where our direction is going.
100%. And I would refer to On-Chain Monkey as an example of how that was done very smoothly and very well in terms of transitioning over here from Ethereum. But I'm going to pass it to Query. He had a question, and then we'll probably end up wrapping it up after that. Go ahead, Query.
Yeah, so it's not really a question. I just wanted to take this opportunity to inform everybody that in the past few days, I've reached out to most of the Ordinals founders with cool, well-known collections. And what we did is we put up a common pool of prizes, which could be like Ordinals, BRC20s, even liquid Bitcoin, rare sats, and stuff like that. And we're going to use that to put up a huge campaign on Magisat for Christmas. And what will basically happen is I'll announce this Monday or Tuesday. And the first like 50 people that get the most trading volume will benefit from a lot of prizes from communities like Unordinals, Quadrillion, and Nocturnal Maxes, Black Classified, and many more founders that have been kind enough to put up prizes in this prize pool. So yeah, like the best way to keep up to speed is follow Magisat and keep your notifications on, and let's have a great Christmas this year.
Awesome. That is exactly why I love being in this community. You know, stuff like that, to where they're doing, you know, giveaways or contests and stuff for people to benefit in the community of Ordinals. And just love it, love it, love it. All right, well, I think that is it. That was our last guest that was scheduled to be on stage, and it was an amazing spaces. I think we were up to like 2:30 at one point. You guys showed out for sure, like you always do. All these great founders and just community members that were up on stage and in the audience. I want to shout out to Corey from Magistat, of course, Benny, the lead dev from Track. We had Adam McBride from Emblem Vault. We had a couple others I can't think of off the top of my head right now, but Bean from Base Community. Want to give him a shout out, and all you guys in the audience. We love all of y'all, but I'll go ahead and pass it to Shizzy to close us out.
All right, guys. Really appreciate you guys watching. Just definitely want to make sure you guys are checking out our YouTube channel, Ordinal Revolution, on YouTube and Spotify and Apple and all streaming. So everything's streaming. You can find us. Definitely check out our website, ordinalrevolution.com. We're putting out the best articles on ordinals, so definitely check that out. And we also have some avatars over on BRC 420 if you want to support us. And we appreciate you guys. We've been growing so quickly because of you guys, and your support means so much to us. I want to thank Kimi. Kimi puts these together every single week for us, man. These have really become pivotal for builders in this space and recognizing what's real and what's not. Some stuff we have on here may not be real, like Spider-Man, but we will see. We will see going forward. We will give everyone, that okay, maybe we'll see. But just want to thank you guys, and we're going to get out of here. Join us next week, same time, 8 a.m. Saturday. Yeah, that's it. And anything else? I think we're good.
No, I think we're good. Y'all have a blessed weekend. Peace.
Peace, guys.
Peace. Bye.